Chained Soldier, chat, is probably the most Diddyest of Diddy anime I've seen in a little while. Let's take a look at this. So, I if right, I'm just going to explain to you what this is about. In a society where women are in power and men are the lesser of the species, apparently, uh, you have the main character who is in a world where there's a different dimension from regular society, right? Regular society, and then there's a system in place that people can accidentally get isekai'd to a demon world, a demon alternative world of it's like a wasteland kind of thing, right? Chat. It's very funky. It's very creative of how they do it. The problem with this anime is that they use terms like slave, right? Now it gets weirder because you have the main character right here who can unleash his powers if he kisses her hand and wears a leash. I think that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like, so, I wouldn't say ever, but in a while, um, and he becomes like this monster, right? So normally when people accidentally get sent to this demon world, they get rescued by these pretty much college military girls. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And they get sent back. There's like a whole network of them too. So a lot of people are going to be like would be fighting over him. I gave it a try because I'm pretty sure I saw a clip because I saw a clip that made it seem a little interesting because I thought it was a little bit more sophisticated, if that makes any sense. But no, it's just I feel like it's a lewd fantasy of the writer. And I'm like, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I'm not judging, by the way. It's just I thought it was kind of something else. I did give it a try. I watched like 3 episodes, but for the most part, it's it chat. There is fan service, right? Which fan service I have no problem with. Degeneracy, I'm like, I think I'm good. Like degeneracy is like, oh my gosh, this is weird. This is weird. Still not as weird as that scene when we played what was it called, Cyberpunk, and we had to nail this dude to a cross. That was the weirdest thing I've ever done. It was crazy. King Remedy says it feels like a generic sloppy isekai I always talk about. Really? Have you seen this? Because this is a weird one. The premise is great. It's just I can't get over the fact that it was just a dominatrix kind of thing, kind of anime, chat. It's pretty much that. Like, it's just a guy who's getting bullied by a bunch of women, and I find that to be very cringe. I was cringing like along the way. I just couldn't stop cringing. I'm like, ugh. But aside from that, the action scenes were pretty great. I'm like, oh, the action scenes are nice. The slight bit of world building so far is pretty cool. But it seemed great. So here's the thing. This isn't necessarily an isekai. It's more like I went to a different dimension, but I can go back to my home dimension. So I wouldn't technically put this on the level of I got reincarnated into a slime in terms of a plot. It's got its own things. It's just it's a it's a very degenerate kind of anime. But for the most part, it's pretty good. You got your 11-year-old apparently. Nothing weird goes on here, but she seems to be the most down to earth soldier apparently. Very down to earth. Not because she's closer to the earth, but more just because she's not insane like the rest of these. She's the probably the biggest degenerate here. Yeah, she gives the main character a run for his money. The main character doesn't really necessarily like her too much. And then you got your stereotypical I hate men kind of character. Is that, chat? Is that? So so his goal in life, he wants to be a hero, the main character, right? He wants to be a hero. So he just so happens to end up when he gets isekai'd, which is a place where his sister apparently is. And I think his sister, his big sister might they speak about her, but they don't really I don't think they've shown her yet. But from what I could see, she might be the villain of the place, of the villain of the story, the big baddie. Um, so his goal is to be a hero, right? That's what he wants, and he says if I have to like submit kind of thing, then sure. What makes him also an interesting character is that aside from fighting or being like very strong, or at least in terms of when he transforms, he has something that I spoke about a lot about how main characters are becoming, and they're being like great like side characters. It like I said before, there seems to be a trend of overpowered side characters where, and when I mean side characters, is that he he get the chance to stay in the girls' dorm, or at least this team's dorm, and he's more like their caretaker, doing things that they can't necessarily do. In fact, when he told her, the girl that he submits to, he's like, that's I really don't like that. It's like very cringe. Let me tell you, chat. He told her, like, I'm not that strong, like in my regular form, but I know how to sew, I know how to clean, and I know how to do all these things, and I have like a lot of skills in doing that, thanks to my big sister. And she was like, oh, that's great, because none of them can do crap. They're all very cyberpunk, chat. You know how filthy that is? They would probably end up like that without a caretaker like him. So they're that type. They're that type. She's not too much of a degenerate, but she is the like dominatrix type, which I find very cringe. I do. I'm not judging other people. I'm just saying this character, like, I watch it just so I can bring it to your attention, Chad. That's the only reason why I watched it. But aside from that, I'm really interested in how everything like kind of plays out. It's just the moments where you would where King Remedy says, "Bro doesn't want to be stepped on. Stop kink shaming." It's a weird one. There was this part in the game we're playing, RimWorld, where some of the people go wild, right? They just go wild and they become like animalistic. So they go out into the nature and just do their thing. Pretty much that SpongeBob. I like SpongeBob, really. And to get them back, you have to tame them. And it's the cringiest thing I've like I've experienced in a game. I think it is the cringiest thing. And because I remember reading the text of what one of the pawns were saying, and it told the other pawn to sit and stay. And then the pawn came back to her senses, and I'm like, oh, like I'm not judging anybody who like likes living like that. I just can't. I can't. Like, don't try to baby me, chat. Don't try to do all these other weird things. Just talk to me like a person, all right? I just it makes my skin crawl. For me, it makes my skin crawl. For me, like other people, they do their own thing. But that's a lot what you're gonna get with this. You have the main character who dreams of being a hero, but he's toughing it like through. It's a very unique anime. It came out in 2024. There are plenty. King Remedy says, "I go to the dark part to hear women say good boy vibes." That is just nah, I'm good. That's where'd you even get this stuff? Anyway, chat, on with the rest of the show.